Well, I'm with Michael Sherlock again. Yeah, he's the ex-policeman. 4 years in the force. He's now resigned. Just in the last few months, he's actually out of there. So we're getting a perspective from the police force, which will be rather interesting to us because the person who's in the police force isn't allowed to comment. So thank you for coming again, Michael.
That's all right.
Thanks for being so open with us and telling us the perspectives of it.
Yeah.
So right now we're seeing the police minister,
Yep.
and we're seeing the police commissioner. Is that what his name is?
Yeah, Andrew Costa.
Yeah, Andrew
Yep.
Costa in a lot of trouble. We're seeing they're under attack, particularly the minister right now.
Yeah.
What's a view from a policeman on the ground?
I feel like Poto is losing strength very quickly. She's losing a battle that she arguably can't win anymore. I love how Christopher Luxon sort of politically called her out on the morning news a couple of days ago. I think it's her time. I think that she needs to move on. I don't think she's doing the right. She could do the right thing. It's just I feel like she's just lost.
What's she not doing? That a policeman on the ground level. So this is the side we never hear about, and it's what are the thoughts of those that, because you're right on the front line. You saw everything. You saw shootings. You were going to people's homes. Domestic violence. You're dealing with it all.
Oh, I've dealt with everything pretty much the job can throw at me.
So what is it she's not doing? The minister.
We love the word trust and confidence. She doesn't give us any trust and confidence. I think that's if I wanted to put something, the underlying thing is that she just doesn't give trust and confidence.
What should she do that you would appreciate as a policeman?
She needs to stand up and be accounted for. She needs to stand up and be I feel like on our side. I don't think she acts as a minister first rather than thinking about the people that she's being a minister of.
All right, there's a couple of questions in that. As a policeman on the ground level, do you feel that you're inadequately supported by your minister?
Yes.
Why?
Because she hasn't passed the correct laws. Our violent crimes are going up, gang violence is going up, but she just seems to wave it off. Ram raids up.
So I'm hearing laws.
Laws. Just again that underlying.
Because that is
confidence.
it's something she can do. She can't manage you, but she can provide laws. Okay. Is there anything else that she's probably lacking? Do you have enough equipment? Do you have enough colleagues? Do you have enough of everything?
Colleagues? No. I was listening to another podcast, and who's an ex-police negotiator in New Zealand. He said that we're in the world index of policing under 2,000 cops.
Wow.
We're meant to be.
And taken that the level of violence is lifting enormously, the shootings are lifting, all these things are lifting dramatically. That's significant. 2,000 policemen down.
Against the world index. I'm not 100% sure how this world index works, but yeah.
Right, Michael, you're on the ground level. You've been there for years, and do you feel safe in your job when you go to work every day? Because we know that the job of policing is. Why, God, I wouldn't want it. You know that you've got to be confronting
It's unsafe to begin with, yes. But in the growing tensions right now, it's becoming more and more unsafe. Again, we hear it on the news all the time. The gang violence, just violent crime in general, with the ram raids, all that. Yes, it's now becoming a time where I bet a lot of cops, not just me, are thinking, is this the right thing?
Are you being oversensitive? Because a policeman must go to work knowing that there is a degree of risk. Every policeman's or policewoman's husband or partner must think, oh my God, am I going to see them tonight?
Yes, 100%, especially with what's going on right now. I think we're 2,000 cops down, say, by the World Index. I think we're going to start losing more cops just because of how tough the job is becoming with the crime. We need to pull that crime back so we can keep our officers safe, but also keep them in the job. Because I know that the more crime that's going to come, more people are going to leave.
From a perspective like me, do you have a right to expect to be safe? Because you're dealing with 100%. Criminals and all sorts of things. You do.
Yes.
A policeman can feel safe at work.
A police officer can feel safe at work.
And should
feel safe. I don't think that police officers don't go out every day. Yes, there's an element of risk being like, okay, something bad could happen today, but that comes with the job because of what you face daily. But there should be an element of safety to be like, okay, I can feel safe
So you've got the resources to pull on if a bad situation arises.
Yep.
I've got enough backup with policemen, and I've got enough tools of the trade. I've got a firearm. I've got this and this at the right time. That's what you think they should feel the right to have.
Yes, I feel like we should have the backing of everybody that that decides to put on the uniform, gets the backing of everybody else that's also in the job. I feel like,
And you don't have that. You didn't have that in your day.
we've always had it. We had it, but it's now weakening. I feel like Stuart Nash did a good job. I can't say yes or no about him, so I will always say that he did a good job. Mike Bush, great commissioner. Had that aura about him that even if it was going wrong, it was still winnable in some sort of fashion.
Mike Bush was the previous
commissioner.
Now
right. We've got Poto. Now we've got Andrew. I feel like it's wavering. This support isn't there.
And do you think you speak for the average person on the beat? You know, the average policeman on the beat.
I hope I do.
Policewoman, yeah.
Police officer, yeah. I hope I speak for every police officer. Maybe more officers that have been in for a couple more years rather than brand new police officers. I feel like you sort of get the wool pulled over your eyes for the first 6 months because you don't really know what to expect, and then after that you sort of gain the actually, okay, this is what the job entails. But yeah, I feel like I speak for maybe I'd say year plus officers.
All right. Did you feel unsafe in your term as a policeman?
At times, yes.
Right. What would have fixed that?
Better training in some regards.
Oh.
Yeah. They do all they can for firearms training.
No, let me just cut through the list and we'll go back through them. So better training. Did you have enough resources?
Yes, I believe that the resource... In terms of resources, what do you mean by resources?
Well, I'm thinking of tools for the trade. So you'd need handcuffs, tasers, guns. You'd need to have vehicles, all these things. And those are tools.
I think the resources are there. Yeah, okay, they might be a bit old. The Holden you're driving might be a bit old, but it's still capable of doing the job. Yeah, okay. Police officers crash their car all the time. There's cars rotating. There's enough tasers. Well, from my station I worked at, there's enough tasers to go around. There's enough tools to go around. Okay, it could be limiting at times just because if there's too many cops on at one time, yeah, it can get a bit limited, but there's still enough to work with.
So there's lacking in numbers.
Yep.
And let's get to guns because obviously that's where our whole society now has just become shocked. 26 drive-by shootings in 2 weeks, and this is just a recent.
Yeah.
And our Prime Minister's saying to the US President, I can tell you how to fix all the problems. We don't have gun problems in New Zealand. 26 drive-by shootings, Michael, where, I mean, you were out of the police force then, so you've been out for 2 months, haven't you?
Yeah.
But my God, it must be, daunting to know that the gangs are actually equipped with just all that military-style vehicles, weapons.
I don't know. Again, we don't know that every shooting or drive-by shooting has used a semi-military style, semi-automatic. There might just have been a pistol. It might have been something like that. But still, it's scary to think that in the span of 2 weeks, we've had 26 shootings.
Well, I believe most of those houses had children in it,
Yep.
and they were sprayed with bullets. Irrespective of what the bullets came from, I won't care if it was a bloody old flintlock.
Yeah.
But it's a bullet going through a house. There's aggression. There's gangs are equipped. They've got these wonderful weapons, and it's shocking for us of the public. Are we safe? No. Now, what about you in the job? We feel that you must feel unsafe for a policeman.
Yes, because the thing is that we deal with it head on. I said this on the last podcast I did. The general public don't have to feel super unsafe yet because it is just gang versus gang. It's when it starts spilling out into the street and it spills out into the general public, then that becomes the problem.
Isn't that about to happen? Thousands of rounds have been let off towards houses, and children, innocent people are in those homes as well.
I fully understand. It's correct. There is innocent people. I feel like it's now becoming a problem. Okay, a couple months ago, it was there. It was a problem, but now it's starting to spill out. There is a time where now we've got to focus on how do we get rid of this
All right,
itch.
is the answer, this is a direct question, I think we're loading up for it. It's the elephant in the room. Should police be armed at all times?
Yes. In my opinion,
No
yes.
hesitation.
No
there?
hesitation. So like we talked about earlier, for the safety of feeling that you want to go home after work, yes. I can't bring a knife to a gunfight anymore. I have to bring my own gun, and it has to be equipped on me at all times.
Yeah.
Like you said, 26 shootings in the last 2 weeks. It's getting out of control, and there needs to be laws, but we also need to be equipped in the right way. Police officers never want to shoot someone, but I can't be left alone to my own devices and not have the right equipment at the right time.
So, right. Let's look at it. So you feel that we've got the good vehicles. You've got the equipment, but we don't have enough guns, and they should be armed at all times. You've got guns accessible in the vehicles, I believe. There's one in the glove boxes there, or
yeah, the one in the one in the front of the car, one in the back. Yeah,
one in the boot, right? Yeah. And that's the rifle, I believe. Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where you see some shortcomings at the time.
This is how I put it: is that the job is ever changing. You could go from 2 minutes talking to you and being nice, and then 2 minutes later you're trying to kill me. We don't know when that's going to change.
Now, part of the people that are against arming the police is saying, look, it could cause innocent deaths. Now, recently there was a gang associate in Wellington that had a knife to a woman's throat.
Yep.
And the police used a firearm to end that, and ended his life as well.
Yep.
According to gang members, whatsoever, he didn't have a firearm himself.
Doesn't matter. Sorry if I touched the mic. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you are armed. Police can still shoot you if they fear for others death or GBH. So that's where that level of force comes to.
So it was reasonable, and the eyes of the law too. You think it would have been
under the eyes of the law? I think it's reasonable. From what I've read about that situation, is that if this man had a knife to the throat of a victim and was saying, "Leave or I'm going to kill her," where would that put you on? I know where it put me on my scale, but where would that put you on? If you're the officer with a firearm, where would that put you? Would you fear that she was going to die? That the thing he said he would do.
I would imagine the adrenaline would have been high. I would say that guy would have been probably come across sincere, because there'd been quite a bit of time going by. Yeah, I think you're right, Michael. I would have probably assessed that situation. That woman's life was a huge risk, and I can just imagine if he had a chin up and a knife there, well, it just would have taken a split second and it would have been over for her.
Exactly.
So, yeah, end it.
But this will be another thing that everyone brings up. Well, why didn't he told you to go away? But the thing is, police officers, once you're in that situation, you can't leave. You can't just walk away. I can't leave the room while this man still has a knife to this woman's throat. There's no.
I'm
there's
hoping,
no
Michael.
Here.
I know. Look, we actually shouldn't be examining this situation because we don't know the facts, you and I. But I was hoping that the police would have, loud hailed, said, "You're surrounded. Give yourself up. Put the woman down. Put the knife down, and come out." Yeah. And that if he refused and tensed up and says, "I'm going to do it," then.
Yeah. Well, again, we weren't there. We can't comment, so we can only comment of what we've seen on the news. But I will always, like I said, I'll always back what the police are doing.
Now, look, that officer that pulled the trigger, and all officers, I think there was 5 shots or something, according to a neighbour,
okay,
will be subject to an inquiry.
Yes.
Now, as a policeman, do you feel that you've got the backing of your seniors? Do you think that you're actually just being left to hang out if you're in that situation? Because you're really doing your job by shooting somebody, and it's...
Yes. This is something I've never dealt with, so I can't really put a full comment to it. But there's 2 investigations that happen. You get investigated criminally and by the IPCA. The IPCA are like the government's version of, you go on. That's like if you do something bad at your work and the job or the people look into you like through the job, then that's what this IPCA does. So you could be not charged criminally, but they might make you leave the police.
So do you think it's reasonable to be investigated? Or do you think a policeman should be allowed to do their job, get on with it, and go home without any further repercussions?
No, everybody, if you take some person's life, then you have to be looked at.
Good on you.
I don't care if you're the nicest bloke out or anything like that. If you take someone's life, you have to be looked at, because I represent the law. I'm no better than the law. So that's how I look at it. You're no better than the law. That me or you, even if I've worn the uniform, I'm no better than it. So I don't beat it.
And we go back to the law again, because the question is, do we have adequate laws? And it's where you have a criticism of the minister. You feel that the laws aren't up to standard.
In some aspects, the laws for firearms, the laws for gangs, they're inadequate right now. And I think that's how they're thriving. I think that's how they're not getting away with, but I think that's how they're growing. That's where this nest is sort of getting a run in. It's going, it's growing, and we're not doing anything to put that out. And that's why I think with National, they're doing that, bringing in the no gang gatherings, stricter firearms laws within gangs, all that sort of stuff. That needs to be put in place to put that fire out.
So you support that? You support National's process here?
Yes.
Excellent.
It would need to be, in all honesty, probably fine-tuned, like everything. That we can start spurting laws out here, there, and everywhere, but in the end, it will need to be fine-tuned to a degree.
Do you know what? I think the National Party are going to get a lot of support with this, because the public are feeling absolutely upset. 26 drive-by shootings in a fortnight. We've seen guns going off everywhere.
Yeah.
Look, admittedly, the gangs are firing at each other at this stage, but look, the public are nearby, and children in those houses. Yeah. It's just wow.
I think, besides from away from the police, I just think that Labour have had their time. I think National are saying singing all the right notes right now, and I think that's something.
Well, Michael, we've got 14 months left of this government.
I know.
So I know it's
but I think that
changes
right
soon.
now, National are singing all the right notes to the right people, and I think that's something that's going to change in the future as well. But back to policing, I think that if these laws come in, it will push everything underground. The gangs will start to go underground again. Will the crime get worse? Arguably. But will the crime be out of the sight of the public, or would not put the public in danger? Yes. I
would certainly agree with you, Michael. I think that because part of their policy, the Labour National Party's policy, is to ban patches in public places. And I think and also the ability to go and disperse a grouping of gang members.
Yep.
And I think all those factors will actually push them underground if it's necessary. Fine, but it's going to make their life harder. And that's what we need. Doing nothing right now, I don't know how you feel, to me is just pretty awful. And that's why I just so love you coming on here, mate, because you faced it directly. I sit here safely on the North Shore, and we don't see gangs, but you've been right in front of them. And my God, I admire you for that.
Thank you. It's there. The thing is, and someone taught, when I worked in the police, one person taught me this very well, and I respect him for it, is that you've got to remember that even though they're criminals or they're gang members and stuff, they still have rights. They're still a person. There's still something behind. Just because you don't agree with what's is being shown in front of you, doesn't mean that they do not get the rights of a decent human being.
Yeah, certainly fathers, mothers, they've got parents, all those things, and children as well.
We still got to think about these people on a basic level.
I wish they would think about us the same way.
Exactly.
And they don't.
They don't. No. But I always found that if you treated them with respect, they treated you with respect. So we've got to...
You're starting to sound like the minister.
Yes, I am starting to sound like the minister. But at the same time, they need to, if they want to not show us respect, we're going to show them that that's not tolerated. But right now, I don't think that's what's happening.
Michael, look, thanks for coming in.
That's all right.
I think we should do a series of these. Let's have another one.
Yeah,
anytime. Within a week's time.
Anytime you want to talk to me about police, I'm here to talk.